Right now, as our stretch of hot weather continues, how the Henry Vilas Zoo is making sure the residents there stay cool. And what the city of Madison plans to do with an historic house recently condemned for several code violations.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
And thanks for joining us. The weather continues to top the news tonight. Heat indices back in the 90s today, and this is not the worst of it yet. Things will get hotter as we continue into the week. Let's check in right away with meteorologist Dana Fulton. She has our first alert forecast. Dana?
Temperatures and our humidity continuing to climb through the rest of the work week and into the weekend. Right now, though, we are looking at some isolated showers and thunderstorms. Here's a look at our Doppler track just for the last few hours. You can see some of those storms starting to shift into the western edge of Dane County. Also seeing some lightning there, thunderstorms for parts of Crawford County and into Iowa County, just outside of Platteville right now. Those showers are going to continue to travel southeast. They are weakening as they move south, and they're bringing a little bit of relief in temperatures for parts of the area like Prairie du Chien right now at about 74 degrees, 75 in Mineral Point, but still 77 in Madison, with those dew points awfully close to our temperatures. We'll be falling close to 70 overnight, some patchy fog possible in the morning. Tomorrow, plan on highs in the low 90s again, with our heat index readings in the mid to upper 90s. But the heat's just getting kicked off, so we'll take a closer look at what's ahead for the next several days in just a few minutes.
All right, Dana, thank you. If you need a place to cool down in the coming days, hospitals, libraries, senior centers are being opened as cooling centers in Rock and several other counties in our area. Only a handful of people usually come to each cooling center, but usually there aren't any added costs for businesses to become a cooling space. At these centers, people are responsible for their own belongings, water, and food, and they should not be confused with overnight shelters. And this heat means taking special precautions for animals as well, and not just your pets at home. Workers at the Henry Vilas Zoo are making sure the animals there are staying cool in weather they say is becoming more extreme. Madeline O'Neill explains how. Maddie?
Eric, right now, heat is top of mind at the Henry Vilas Zoo, along with how to construct exhibits to better handle extreme weather, especially after historic flooding and cold took a toll on some of the zoo's most beloved animals earlier this year.
This is a cool experience. I've came here since I was a kid.
A cool experience.
Take the kids and see them happy.
On a very hot day.
Very, very hot.
This group is feeling it.
Oh, yeah.
Hot, mostly sweaty.
They're finding ways to combat the sun.
Finding shade once in a while, drinking water.
Just like the animals, they're here to see.
This is one of our grizzly bears, and she is found a nice, cool spot. She seems to be just sleeping the heat of the day away.
From shady spots to frozen treats, Henry Vilas Zoo workers provide animals with ways to stay cool.
We also like to give our animals lots of choices.
Jess Thompson says that means access to air conditioning and sprinkler systems, especially for the animals that stay outside or who aren't quite built for this weather.
Such as our polar bears need some more options, such as those cool spaces in the summertime. In the wintertime, we have different factors to think about.
In the past year, Thompson says unprecedented flooding and cold are to blame for the death of nearly all the zoo's prairie dogs.
Our climate is changing, and that includes these really hot days and our really cold days.
As the zoo looks to rebuild that exhibit, they're hoping to accommodate those changes. With the sun beating down today, it means caring for all in the zoo, inside exhibits and out.
Lots of popsicles and ice cream for sure for the humans, and some fun ice treats as well for our animals.
To keep the experience cool for everyone.
They love it. Love it, love it, love it.
The aviary is currently closed as the zoo puts on a new roof to help with insulation and reduce its carbon footprint. That should be finished in August.
All right, yeah, got to keep them cool and keep the kids cool, too, when they go to the zoo. Maddie, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, due to the weather, Madison area homeless shelters are issuing what they are calling a weather exception due to extreme temperatures. From today until next Monday, the shelters will not turn anyone away, in some cases, even if they've already reached their limit on the number of stays at the facility. Police are searching for a second suspect tonight connected to an attempted homicide last week. One person is already in custody. The U.S. Marshals arrested 20-year-old Joshua Dean of Fitchburg in Illinois yesterday. This is the man they're looking for, 19-year-old Markeith Mayer of Madison. This is in relation to a shooting last Wednesday where a teenager was shot multiple times on the southeast side. Police say Meyer has a tattoo above his right eye that says loyalty. If anyone knows where he is, you are asked to give police a call. At least 10 different fire departments responded to a house fire in rural Verona this afternoon. Crews called just before 4:30. This was on Paulson Road in the town of Verona. Officials say no one was hurt but didn't release any more information. And a brief scare for a Madison pilot today. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says the 61-year-old man had to make an emergency landing. This was in a town of Verona farm field after he experienced some engine troubles. They say he was trying to land the ultralight at the Verona Airport just off Highway 18151 but could not make it there. He was not hurt. The man convicted of kidnapping Jamie Kloss and murdering her parents has now been moved to another prison outside of the state of Wisconsin. According to the Department of Corrections, Jacob Patterson was transported out of Dodge Correctional Institution today. The DOC says it is not saying where he is being moved for his own safety. Patterson is serving 2 life sentences. Almost 5 years to the date, the Justice Department today has decided not to federally charge an NYPD officer accused of killing Eric Garner. His death was the center of protests nationwide. He was just 43 years old and died after New York officers attempted to arrest him for allegedly selling loose cigarettes. On July 17, 2014, one of those officers, Daniel Pantaleo, was accused of using a chokehold. That's against federal laws. The medical examiner's office ruled the death a homicide, and the city of New York settled with Garner's estate for $5.9 million in 2015. Arrest warrants have been issued for 6 people believed to have taken part in what police are calling a flash mob theft at a Wisconsin outlet mall. According to the Kenosha News, 2 of the men have already been arrested. The other 4 are being sought on $50,000 warrants. They are alleged to have been part of this group who stormed the North Face store at the Pleasant Prairie Premium Outlet Mall back on July 1st. They got away with more than $33,000 in clothing. Former Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens, who served on the High Court for nearly 35 years, has died. He suffered a stroke yesterday in Fort Lauderdale and passed away today. Stevens' influence was felt on issues including abortion rights, protecting consumers, and placing limits on the death penalty. He retired in June of 2010 at the age of 90, the second oldest justice in the court's history. John Paul Stevens was 99 years old. The U.S. House of Representatives voted tonight to condemn racist language from President Trump, capping off a tumultuous couple of hours on Capitol Hill. The vote, 240 to 187. All of the Democrats and 4 Republicans, along with 1 independent, supported it. The resolution denounced the president for comments targeting 4 Democratic congresswomen of color. And President Trump's push for a citizenship question on the next census has been permanently shut down in court. Today, a federal judge in New York issued an order that prevents adding that question on the 2020 census in any shape or form. Last week, the president said he would seek citizenship information from other agencies, not through the census. The city of Madison is looking at taking action against the man who owns an historic house on Langdon Street. Amy Reed joins us now to fill us in on what's going on. Amy?
This home on Langdon Street was once where U.S. President Grover Cleveland stayed when he was in town, and it has a lot more history than that. But when city inspectors noticed the owner was not keeping it up to its historical standards, groups with the city of Madison had to get involved. There's some change coming on Langdon Street. One side, a building comes down, the other, one is built back up. To Stu Levitan, it's about time.
We've been trying to get his attention. The masonry is in bad shape, the windows are in bad shape, the porch is tilting.
He and the rest of the Landmarks Commission has been trying to get this property fixed for 2 years. And why does it matter?
It is one of the earliest City of Madison landmarks from the early 1970s. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. It's in the Mansion Hill Historic District. And it's because this house is here that the Oscar Mayer Company located in Madison.
But in more than 100 years, the house has worn down, and people have noticed the property owner hasn't kept it up.
This particular home is a real historic gem that is part of Madison's culture, so I think the community has an obligation to protect it.
A demolition by neglect decision now moves through Common Council after it was filed by the Landmarks Commission. It would allow the city to make the improvements the owner has not on the owner's dime. The property owner has appealed that decision. We tried to ask him his side, but multiple attempts to reach him were unsuccessful. His lawyer, who helped him with the appeal, said painters, masons, and carpenters are on site nearly every day, though we saw none. He said they should be finished by the end of the month.
Project should be done by now. We shouldn't see all the work still in its formative and early stages. The project should have been completed within the next 2 weeks.
And Levitan doubts that will happen, but even if it does, he's sad that it had to come to this at all and hopes once this finishes, it doesn't need to happen again.
This is a sacred trust. When you own a historic building that's not only a local landmark, but on the National Register, you have an obligation to the public to maintain that building.
Tonight, Common Council approved for this to move to the Plan Commission. From there, it'll move up the chain where the city will decide if it sides with the Landmark Commission or not. But if this actually is finished in 2 weeks like it's supposed to, then the city won't necessarily have to take any action besides that. Eric?
Amy, thank you. Plans to build a $25 million homeless facility will be presented to the Urban Design Commission tomorrow. The Salvation Army on East Wash expanding its current building into a 5-story purpose-built facility. Plans on adding services like mental health services and on-site medical and dental staff, but the plans face some opposition from neighbors who say there is a problem with crime in that area. They say it stems from those who go to the shelter. Tonight is the first in a series of 5 public meetings to determine if Madison should make more parks dog-friendly.
We do get a lot of requests from people on both sides, people who would like us to enforce the dog ordinance more so they would see less dogs in parks, and people who own dogs and they would like to walk dogs, have more options to walk dogs in parks. So we do get a lot of requests both ways.
Over the course of these meetings, the city's Parks Division will be asking the public if the current policies about dogs in parks should be adjusted. Right now, only 26 of the city's 270 parks are accessible to leashed dogs. The next meeting tomorrow, 6:30 at Madison Memorial High School. And if you can't make it to any meeting, there's also an online survey that anyone can take. Still ahead tonight, celebrating 50 years since the Apollo 11 mission sending the first astronauts to the moon, plus celebrating a 150-year milestone at the UW. And we'll have the story behind it when we come back. It was a half-century ago today. 3 American astronauts took off to make one giant leap for mankind, launching on a trip to the moon. The Apollo 11 mission, considered one of the greatest achievements in space travel. It was July 16, 1969. A Saturn V rocket carried 3 astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, on the 225,000-mile journey. 4 days later, the lunar module touched down and Armstrong became the first person to set foot on the moon. NASA now has its sights set on returning there by the year 2024. Neil Armstrong's spacesuit that he wore in that mission was unveiled at the Air and Space Museum in Washington today. His son and Vice President Mike Pence were there for the first showing of that display. Also on this day back in 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr., the son of the President John F. Kennedy, died after a single-engine plane he was piloting crashed into the Atlantic near Martha's Vineyard. His passengers, his wife, Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, and sister-in-law Lauren Bessette were also killed. A search for those bodies included the Navy, the Coast Guard, and Air Force, and it lasted some 5 days. 150 years ago was a monumental milestone for UW-Madison when the first women graduated from the university, and tonight 3 alumni spoke on a panel about the importance of remembering this anniversary. Marcy Bowers, a 1980 graduate, is a pioneer in the field of sex reassignment surgery. 2003 graduate Fatima Ebrahimi is a principal research physicist in the Princeton Plasma Physical Labs Theory Department. And Sagacious Livingston, who just graduated with her PhD this year, is the author and founder of Infamous Mothers, LLC. The Alumni Association says the university has long been a supporter of women.
Women graduated from the UW-Madison 50 years before there was the opportunity to vote. So we're really proud that the UW has had a long history of access to education for women.
The Alumni Association is holding events all year to mark this anniversary. Dana's joining us now with a further look at the forecast. The heat, of course, we've been talking about, and also some storms out there, some rain.
Yes, we do have some rain right now, a little bit of lightning, some thunderstorms for us. Now, today we split the difference between our record high and average, actually 8 degrees above average and 8 degrees below that record, right at 90. Right now, we do have some showers and thunderstorms in the southwest corner of Wisconsin. Some heavier rain in spots right around Sauk County. This is all in front of our little system crossing through the northern edge of the state as that front sags south is pushing a little more moisture in. Unfortunately, that front not bringing any cool down for us heading into tomorrow or the rest of the week. We're just going to continue to sit in a bit of an unsettled pattern as a series of systems just kind of cross over the plains and the northern Midwest. We won't see much relief until we actually get into next week. So a stretch of warm weather for us, and our temperatures actually really continuing to climb through the rest of the work week and into the weekend. Right now we're at about 77 in Madison. Same goes for Milwaukee, mid-70s around La Crosse. So overall, everyone again sitting in that same temperature boat. Dew points also pretty high right now. 68 in Madison, 70 in La Crosse, 73 in Dubuque. As our temperatures fall overnight and get closer to those dew points, we will see some patchy fog, especially in those lower lying areas. So this chance for some showers and thunderstorms really dies down after midnight. By Wednesday morning, we have a partly sunny sky. In the afternoon, with our warm temperatures, we do have the slight chance for a few more showers and thunderstorms to pop on up, and then another opportunity for some showers and thunderstorms early in the day on Thursday. Really early morning. You may see a few showers for your morning commute east of Dane County. Thursday afternoon, though, we have sunshine. It's going to be very warm outside on Thursday, or a breeze coming from the southwest. And then by Friday, mostly sunny and quite toasty outside for the end of the week. Again, these showers and thunderstorms get out of here by Wednesday morning. We're close to 70 for our overnight lows. In the afternoon, temperatures will be near 90 again for afternoon highs, with heat index readings in the mid to upper 90s. There's going to be a slight chance for a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Heading into Thursday morning, here's that rain chance starting to come through for us. We see the stronger thunderstorms come through right around 7 o'clock. So it comes through fairly quickly, and that does mean that mostly seeing the rainfall for the morning commute east of Dane County. Temperatures Thursday afternoon will reach the mid-90s for our afternoon highs, and those heat index readings will start to get close to 100, if not crossing the triple-digit line. So it's going to feel very hot outside Thursday, Friday, and for Saturday. Heat index readings tomorrow again in the 90s. We drop a little bit overnight, of course, and then by Thursday afternoon, you can see they're climbing throughout southern Wisconsin. You're going to have to go pretty far north to get any relief from the heat. We do already have an excessive heat watch that has been issued. It goes into effect for Thursday for the southwest corner. Grant County, Crawford County included in that, stretching west and south. We may see that watch get extended, if not a heat advisory added to that. For the rest of southern Wisconsin, there's still a little bit of a question mark whether or not the Milwaukee office is going to pull the trigger on that. We do have alert days, though, in the forecast for the rest of the week and into the weekend because of those heat index readings climbing so high over the next several days. It's going to be a little warm outside. Overnight lows will fall close to 70. As I mentioned, there is the chance for some patchy fog early in the morning. Tomorrow, plan on a high of about 91 in the afternoon, and then temperatures through the rest of the week just climb on up for us over the next several days. It will be a little warm outside. For Thursday and Friday, that's when we are expecting the greatest jump in our humidity. It stays with us into Saturday. We'll have some showers and thunderstorm chances for Saturday and Sunday. Behind those rain chances, though, we get a little bit of a relief in the heat there. Heading into next week, temperatures will be in the mid-80s and our humidity won't be nearly as high. So it actually will feel a little nice outside for next week, but we have quite a hot stretch to get through first before we see that cool down.
And you get these little pop-up storms with this humidity from time to time,
You do. You really do when we have just this much moisture and our temperatures climb so much. The good news, though, when these storms do pop up, they tend to drop our temperatures.
Cool things off
very
nicely.
quickly.
Yeah,
yes,
we
for
can
the
handle
evening.
that, too. Dana, thank you. Forward Madison and the Mexican powerhouse team Leonos Negros have a great match at Stevens Field tonight. Packed house. We'll show you what happened next in sports.
Forward Madison FC is used to playing in front of capacity crowds in its first year at Breeze-Stevens Field, and tonight is another one. A top club from Mexico, Leones Negros, makes its first trip to Madison to face the Flamingos. Great atmosphere in front of another big crowd, 4,800 for the international friendly. Leones Negros scores first, but the Flamingos respond in the final minute of the first half. Brian Bement gets it past the keeper. It's 1-1 at intermission. Early second half, you won't see a better play than this one. Anthony Markanich crosses to his brother Nick, and the header goes up and over to give the Flamingos the lead. In the final score tonight, Forward Madison FC 2, Leones Negros 1. The Brewers haven't been world beaters lately, but they're still very much in contention for the Central Division title and or a wild card. Tonight, the Brewers host the Atlanta Braves in Game 2 of their series at Miller Park. And it was Bark in the Park night. Lots of fans brought their dogs in to watch the game on a steamy night in Milwaukee. Keston here has been the big dog for the Brewers lately. Here's another home run for the Brewers' second baseman, who's making him forget about Travis Shaw, number 9 on the season for Hira. But in the 7th, the big hit of the game, Christian Yelich with the bases loaded, his 33rd homer of the season. He's still one behind Cody Bellinger for the National League lead, but it's a grand slam. It's in the 8th. Brewers 12, Braves 1. The Cubs and Reds are tied at 3 as they go to the 10th at Wrigley Field. The Northwoods League All-Star Game is tonight, but this video is the story of the league tonight. A 6-year-old named Drake was an honorary coach of the Kalamazoo Growlers. The ump tossed him for arguing balls and strikes, and little Drake, he wouldn't have any of it. Tossed the bat, tossed it twice, dumped out a bucket of balls. He was angry. They just posted this video today. It already has 500,000 views. The Packers begin training camp 2 weeks from Thursday, so that means they're getting the dorms ready for the players at St. Norbert College in De Pere. Now, you probably noticed a lot of professional football players are really big guys. Defensive lineman Deion Simon, largest Packer at 332 pounds. There are 20 guys on the roster that weigh more than 300 pounds. There are 23 players who are 6'5" or taller. So, to accommodate that, they take the student-sized beds out of the dorm rooms for larger, supersized beds for the larger humans who play football. The whole notion of the Packers going to St. Norbert every year for training camp is a long-standing and unique tradition.
This started 62 years ago with the legendary coach Vince Lombardi, and he decided that St. Norbert College would be the home for Packer training camp. It is the longest such relationship between a pro football team and a college in the NFL.
The Packers will spend 3 weeks in the dorms at St. Norbert. Rookies move in on July 21st. The rest of the team gets there on July 23rd. And Badger basketball tweeted out some pictures this afternoon of some players with their new uniforms. 2 things. These guys have really been in the weight room a lot. And for the first time in a long time, you notice there are names in the back of the uniforms. The Badgers open their season with an exhibition game against UW La Crosse Friday, November 1st. And we'll be right back.
And Dana rejoins us. Final check of the weather.
We're looking at the hot stretch just continuing for us. Temperatures will be in the low 90s again tomorrow. Heat index readings in the mid to upper 90s. For Thursday and Friday, we're in the mid 90s. We'll see the chance for some thunderstorms early in the day on Thursday, and then sun in the afternoon. Very hot outside for Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. And then finally next week, we'll get a little bit of a break in the heat for us.
Boy, soccer crowds are crazy out there, aren't they? That was
4,800 again tonight.
That was quite a show. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10. See you tomorrow.